Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, we need to talk about what is going on in the Shanquella Robinson case. Baby, we're not getting justice, but at least we are getting calls to justice. What am I talking about? Shanquella Robinson's family, headed by attorney Ben Crump, is calling everybody for action. It is now official. It has been rumored through Nancy Grace on YouTube. Lots of outlets, myself included on this channel, have said, what is Mexico doing? What is this stupid juvenile smokescreen that they are sending to the American public and the people that care about Shanquella Robinson, faking like they're doing something when everybody knows they are doing the least? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, before we get into this report, let me just bring you up to speed really quick, okay? Mexico made a big deal about saying, we asked for extradition, we asked for this, and we even gave her a charge of femicide and murder. It's only this many. And femicide, she'll get 2 or 3 times the year. We're taking action until, right? One of the head guys at the FBI, I believe it was Seltzer, came out and said, yeah, Mexico was BSing. Mexico isn't making this a priority. Mexico doesn't care if this is solved or not. How do we know? Because one of the main keys in extradition is the crime that you're accusing one person of. Okay. The crime you're accusing one person of has to be a crime in another country. So if I say you're sentenced to life, I want to convict you to be sentenced to life for eating my Oreo cookies. If you say now extradite them, the other country, in this case, where America would be like, yeah, but it's not a crime to eat Oreo cookies. And even if it was, you can't get life in prison for eating Oreo cookies. They're just cookies. We're not sending our citizens over there. Sorry, we know we have a treaty, but our first responsibility is to the Constitution. Don't you know? Okay, so that's out there, right? So how does this link up with everybody calling Mexico out? Well, there's a few things. It looks like, right, Shanquella's family, with the help of attorney Ben Crump, said, oh, no, 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 no. They started a letter writing campaign to flood to flood the Mexican embassy of letters demanding that they do something in California, Baja Sur. And I got to be honest with you, when I heard that, I said, okay, that's cute, and I'm glad you guys are doing it, but they're playing in our faces, and there needs to be something more strong. We need someone to call them. We need someone to call them out. We need the family to call them out. There must be justice. Well, guess what? It looks like Shanquella Robinson's family's attorney has answered that call, and it seems like, according to multiple outlets have reported this, but let's actually get into the people that were reporting it first. This is from WSOC TV. This is a local Charlotte news station. But they have, and this is also by Joe Bruno. I believe Joe Bruno is the one guy that walked up there, knocked on the Cabo Six's doors and said, he knocked on the Cabo Six's door and he said, y'all gonna open this door, I'll have them puff and blow it down. Now, of course, they were hiding like scared little rats. But the point is, he's actually been on the ground. He's actually been doing reporting. He's been on Nancy Grace. He's contacted the U.S. Embassy. He's contacted the consulates. He's not just sitting there saying he's an investigative reporter. He's actually showing that he has Shanquella's best interest at heart. He's actually the first person that actually came out and exposed that something in the milk isn't clean. But let's get into this. They say it's been months since Mexican authorities announced that an arrest warrant was issued for a friend of Shanquella Robinson after her death in Cabo San Lucas. We all assume at this point that this is Desiree Jackson. However, Mexico has not officially issued the name on the arrest warrant as per Mexican law. They haven't issued the name on the warrant. Just to circle back to what I said about that charge about femicide, I know I got a little bit off track, but the issue with the charge on the femicide is not a recognizable crime in America. Mexico knows that. Mexico could very easily change that paperwork, and resubmit it and get this extradition underway. Now, why aren't they doing that? Well, I have a couple of theories. I don't know about you guys, but listen to my Shanquella playlist, but I'll give you the long and short of it. I believe that there's something deeper going on with the Shanquella Robinson case. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's the hotels owned by the cartel. I don't believe that for 1 second, because when you Google who the hotel is owned by, it is a conglomerate that's based in America. This isn't season 1 through 3 of the Ozarks, okay? I don't think that's it. I think what's going on is the doctor. So let's also not forget in Cabo and a few other places, the U.S. State Department literally put a warning about going to their hospitals. One of the hospitals they put a warning out is actually the hospital, the American Clinic, or it's in association. There's a scam that when you come for help, one person's wife almost died of COVID, and they tried to shake him down for $50,000 and then tried to bill the insurance company for $100,000. That doctor that was there, they should have known, according to the autopsy, right, that Quilla wasn't coming back. That doctor that everybody thinks was paid off, that doctor that performed how many rounds of CPR and how many steps, to the point of every medical professional is like, that's impossible. It's impossible what you're saying. That doctor, the 2 policemen, and the local councilman in the Cabo San Lucas, Baja California Sur area were also involved. How deep does this corruption go? Like the FBI expert that was on Nancy Grace, go watch my old video, it's the last one I posted, said, when you're dealing with these type of things, they don't want the FBI snooping around. They don't want the FBI snooping around. Do you know why that is? Because they'll make trouble. They'll make trouble. Because it's not the cartel. It's not anything except for the fact that that's the way they treat American tourists. Now, you can go on and say that's the way they treat Black American tourists, but it's the way they treat all American tourists, because let's not forget that someone who was a public defender that lived in the San Diego area was vacationing with his wife, who was also a lawyer. He showed up dead. They said he fell off his balcony. The wife said, what are you talking about? Your security guard told me he had a shot to the head, and that's how he died. They were like, oh, no. We don't know why the security guard said that. No, he fell accidentally. The wife then said, we're sending our own private investigator down to investigate and send his body back, because we're going to perform an independent autopsy. Let's not forget that Mexico said, no, he was drunk. That's why he fell. The wife said he was not drunk. I was there with him at dinner. He wasn't even a heavy drinker. He barely drank. Send his body back. You know that they literally embalmed his body? Why is that important? Because when somebody says send an autopsy back and they embalm a body, you can't really test for blood alcohol level anymore, because all the blood is out of the body. Oh, you didn't know that, did you? Well, you know who did? Mexico did. Sounds familiar? Somebody was very drunk. That's the way they died. It was just an accident. Isn't that the same mess they pushed off? Isn't that the same mess they pushed off with Shanquella? And these people, with the power of the San Diego government behind them, pushing for answers, they can't even get answers. I'm just saying, y'all, be careful when you go to Mexico. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Be careful anywhere you go. But we know the thing is with Mexico, I'm not saying it's more dangerous or less dangerous than any other place. I'm not saying it has more corruption or less corruption than any place else. I'm saying that when corruption and slimy stuff happens in the U.S., you know the procedures. You know how to get justice. You know where to push. In Mexico, it seems like even people that are in the government don't know what's going to happen. But let's get into it. They're saying now an attorney representing Shanquella's family says they need diplomatic intervention from the U.S. government in order to move the case forward. That's right. I know in the beginning of the case, a lot of people were coming down on social media. Y'all need to be quiet, right? Y'all need to be quiet so justice can be done. Everybody. Sorry. Everybody, sorry, y'all. Y'all know I got too excited. That's the Lord telling me to calm down, be easy. Let me put on my calm voice. To which everybody that knows anything about the law says, what do you mean be quiet? Justice can be served once somebody is in custody and it is in front of a judge and a jury, or in Mexico case, just a judge and lawyers. That's when you calm down and you let justice take its place. When nobody has been arrested, when people are just walking around with their Starbucks, hop, skipping, and jumping into their meal, that is not the time. That is not the time to be quiet. It's not. I hate to tell it to y'all, but that is not the time to be jealous, right? I'm sorry. It's not the time to be quiet. It's not the time to be like, oh my God, like act like it's just weird. It's just not the time. And I say jealous because I keep thinking about what happened with Shanquella. I keep thinking about her friends and how they were jealous hearted of what she had, her glow, how she was glowing up. At least that's what I think. You can't tell me it wasn't jealousy, but let's get back into this. They're saying, as we know, Shanquella was killed in late October while vacationing in Mexico. According to prosecutors, they told ABC News on November 23rd that a friend of Shanquella was the direct aggressor in her death, which was officially called a femicide. Now, I know Mexico was on some BS, and I said this even months before, and it gives me no pleasure to be like, I told y'all so, because lots of people saw it, right? You take evidence, people get a logical conclusion, but the fact that the doctor, they kept saying, we need the Cabo 6, we need the Cabo 6. Why? First of all, why haven't you issued arrest for them? Because it only has to be suspicion. You don't need to have an open and shut case. That's what court is for. But also, why is the doctor walking around? Why aren't the police officers in trouble? Why isn't that council person that basically let them leave so that this whole melee came and Mexico refuses to change the paperwork? Now, they go on to say that friend hasn't been publicly identified, but a video surfaced showing a woman attacking Shanquella inside a hotel room. Salamandra Robinson, Shanquella's mother, previously identified the people in the video as friends of her daughter, who went with her on the Cabo trip. Shanquella is from Charlotte, and many of the people on the trip were from North Carolina. Hold on, y'all. There is more to this. So why does Ben Crump have to get involved and literally say that we need intervention from a high-level diplomatic intervention? Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, all these people, where are they? We need to get on Twitter. We need to get Instagram. Anyone, your local congressman, councilman, your local mayor. I don't care. Tag anybody you can when you are bored. Also, with this letter writing campaign that they have, I'm going to put some addresses in the description box and in the pinned comment that you can actually write. I believe Fumi Desval on her channel, she put the addresses and shared them with people. One of my subscribers passed those along. I'm going to pass them along too. Fumi, thank you so much for doing the groundwork of finding the addresses to send. Again, I don't believe that anybody's lazy. I don't believe that anybody doesn't care. I feel like everybody is literally trying to get by in life and doing what they can. And the easier you make it for someone to take action to help those that they feel need help, the easier it will be. So Fumi, thank you. Fumi Desi, let me make sure I got her channel name right. Let's say it right. Miss Fumi Desilu Vold. Shout out to Fumi. She shared these addresses. Thank you so much for sharing them. And thank you for Anita for sending me these addresses. I do want to say, right, there is still hope in this case. Shanquella will get justice, but Mexico can't think Did they keep shrugging their shoulders, planting false information, showing up on the attorney general showing up on a YouTube live stream with 700 people talking about, I'm coming for justice for Shanquella, when you won't even show your face to 2020 CNN, Nancy Grace, or anyone, because you know they're really going to question you and be like, cut the BS. You know what it is. What are y'all doing? Again, justice is coming for Shanquella. It's coming. Justice is coming for Shanquella, but I'm glad that Shanquella's family's legal representation. Y'all, everybody want to know what happened to GoFundMe money? Where is the money for GoFundMe? First of all, honestly, Shanquella's mom lost her baby. Father, whatever money I donated, and yes, I did put my money where my mouth is, right? Whatever money anybody donated, I would consider that a gift to the family. Honestly, because who in their right mind would ever want to go through that? But even if you don't see it as a gift to the family, you want to know where your money's going? Ben Crump ain't cheap. He's not doing it pro bono, as far as I know. They need private investigators. They need other autopsies. Do you now see why that money was needed and what they're using it for? It's needed because Mexico is on some BS. Shanquella's own family now, through their legal representation, is coming out to say it. Mexico is on some BS. And now the wheels of justice have to turn. But baby, it's not cheap to turn the wheels of justice. Not cheap at all. Anyway, let me get back on this to Mexico's response. Okay. They're saying that Channel 9 checked with Baja California Attorney General De La Rosa, who said that Shanquella's death investigation was ongoing. He said he was working with U.S. authorities. We now know that, yeah, they're just literally kicking the ball back. Joe Bruno sat down with Sue Ann Robinson, the attorney who's representing the Shanquella's family, after she just returned from Mexico to see what the case stands. The attorney said one of her biggest takeaways is how difficult it is to get information and make inquiries about the case in Mexico. She said, we weren't greeted by the consulate or taken to the attorney general's office. We kind of had to make our way in order to get information. You guys, the disrespect is staggering. Even though the attorney De La Rosa wanted to come and be like, oh my God, this is the highest priority. We're doing it. When it was time to put your money where your mouth was, you literally even disrespected them and just like literally had them blowing in the wind. They said, we kind of had to make our way in order to get the information. We did not receive any assistance from the consulate, despite their knowledge of the protocols and Mexico that the attorney general would require the consulate to be involved because it's a crime involving a U.S. citizen. Ultimately, they were able to get information from the Mexican attorney general, who said they had completed their investigation and prepared an extradition packet. That extradition information was forwarded to U.S. authorities, and the attorney says they're essentially waiting for the U.S. government to do the next steps in the process. Joe Bruno asks, so what's taking so long? Is it just red tape? They said it's a unique case that this extradition process is requiring the United States to essentially turn over the United citizen and citizens to the Mexican government in order to be brought to justice under the criminal system. But it's not something that's unprecedented or that lacks protocol for it to be done. It just takes high-level diplomatic intervention. Someone has to come forward and say, you know what? I'll be the one that's responsible to talk to the Mexican government and make sure that extradition is happening, that the protocols and everything that's in place to be effective or effectuate something like this happening in a timely manner. And based on what I've seen so far and based on what the family is being advised, this is not being done. The family's attorney says they're going to Washington, D.C. on Friday to rally for support. Activists will join Shanquella's family members in calling the U.S. State Department to take action. The State Department wouldn't talk to Joe Bruno about the case, saying they don't comment on extraditions. The FBI told Joe Bruno that the investigation is still ongoing and that the agency is working with the Department of Justice. Y'all, listen, please take a minute if you can. Write these addresses. If you don't want to write, send them an email. If you don't want to send an email, call the Department of State and say this is about the Shanquella Robinson's case. Because let me tell you something, even if they try to act like it's not the case, oh, they're listening. They're listening. And now's our chance, combined with what the Robinsons are doing to actually be heard. Y'all, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Bye.